Many young people in South Africa are looking to farming for their future. This as employment opportunities dwindle every year for the youth. Youth unemployment rate is currently sitting at 46.5% as at the first quarter of this year. Although farming is desirable, there are hurdles that the youth who want in on the sector must face and overcome. These include insufficient access to knowledge and information and education, limited access to land and markets.
We want to be part of the ecosystem or create a coherent ecosystem that allows any young person who wants to participate in agri in a meaningful way to thrive. And therefore, we are in this to say, what are the models that we can put in place? And Kagiso Trust, we have piloted a model, one that talks to aggregation. We think that if the young farmers can work together, collaborate in an aggregator format, but also focus on how to find appropriate funding, how to approach the markets. These markets have been traditionally have got patterns, people have got long relationships. How do they enter these new spaces? And lastly, technical support.
In her keynote address, Minister of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, Togo Didiza, called on young farmers to arm themselves with knowledge of their trade. Imparting this knowledge is the business of Dumelo Training Solutions.
When you are a farmer, the first important thing, you need to know how to manage your farm, how to manage your finances, how to market your product, how to generate income. Remember, a farm can also be it's a business. So you need to generate income. You need to grow from emerging farmer up to a commercial farmer. Yeah.
The Perishable Products Export Control Board provides quality certification and cold chain management services for both producers and exporters of perishable food products. The board also assists with market access for farmers.
Our farmers mostly have been struggling with market access by not meeting the market requirements. So the program that we're doing with all the 9 provinces and some other stakeholders, where we're making farmers get, the market requirements, so they can access the retailer market, and as well if someone does have like the export market, we are able to assist them into meeting that market.
The young farmers in Daba hosted young farmers from across the country like Ronica Maluleke Ngasama, the founder of Agriazo Poultry Farm. She was inspired by her grandparents who are also farmers and is now on her own journey. Ngasama says a few lessons have been learned.
Sometimes you just have to do what your heart tells you to do, because I've realized that when you want to do something according to a budget elsewhere, it never works out. I can give you an example. Many of us as young farmers, we've tried several times to apply from the government for food aid, but sometimes it just never happens. So what then as a farmer can you do to jump that hurdle? So that's what pushed me as well, that hey, you don't need to lean on anyone, sometimes just get it done yourself.
Agritech is slowly finding its way into South African farms. The Farmer's Friend app helps farmers to collect data aimed at business efficiency and the smooth running of the farm.
This application is there to help them or guide them through the season on what their costs are. Also, it gives you more insight on your field or your plot, when is the right time to plant. So like things like your soil moisture, which are very critical for a farmer to understand. And also like costing, how much did you spend, how much was the labor rate. So at the end of the day, you know exactly as a farmer if you're making a profit or if not.
Agritech is let's call it a new space, and it's growing within Africa, and we hope to be one of the pioneers that push that. And we found that a lot of the young farmers we find have more of a, call it, affinity towards tech, but a lot of the older farmers are very eager to learn as well as, get involved with the tech. Tech is part of our everyday lives. When you look at cell phones, when you look at computers, you kind of can't go about your day-to-day business without tech. So what we're trying to do is try and push this within the agricultural space, and and start bringing that agri-tech to small-scale farmers right up to commercial, and try and get the push the importance of having an agricultural agri-tech footprint.
Stark Iris has made growing vegetables and herbs easy with their seedlings offerings for those with green fingers and eager to get into the space.
Starting in the backyard, for example, focusing on your specific area, right adjoining, supplying your neighbor with vegetables, or selling to your neighbor, the guy across the street, your microeconomics, so important, and it learns you the basic principles of business at the end of the day, your microeconomics in your specific area. From there you can start expanding, get your neighbor in as well to plant another crop. You supply butternuts, the oak to your right supply spinach, for example, or cabbage, and in that you can feed your whole community, or you can sell to your whole community in your area. So what's been happening, especially since COVID, since we had our first lockdown, and I know we don't want to talk about COVID anymore, but that was such an insightful time for any person in the agricultural sector, because people were based at home, they could focus on producing their own food, and us at Stark saw an immense growth in homegrown vegetable sales, seed sales.
The agricultural recruitment specialists based in the UK say to attract younger people to agriculture, the industry requires them to understand that agriculture can be an innovative and profitable field. This includes improving the image of agriculture and farming so that more young people think of it as a viable career option, using technology and social networks, and also exposing them to agriculture at an early age. Liabo, Setho, SABC News, Johannesburg.